that come. Now, is the open door going to be an invitation for a handful of us to go see Trey Gowdy or Jeff Sessions? Or is the open door going to be somebody who does a very serious mainstream story about this? We're not sure, but we are, once we send all of these emails to every single governor, the fusion centers, everybody like that, then we're going to say, you knew about it.
Actually, I got stalked by my mayor in my own city.
Well, you know what? I would send him an email with this in it, too.
I went there in person, actually confronted him, because I know that under each mayor, the city workers are the ones that are under this program. And I started looking into, I was trying to get paperwork and try looking into the Treasury Department, because the Treasury Department is actually taking in bribes from the fusion centers and stuff like that, and it's being distributed to all the city workers for their counter surveillance programs.
Well, I would like for anybody who has an insight into the money flow to get in touch with me and tell me what you found. Because we need to put this together. We have got, on the other end, we're finding indications that these people are taking out insurance policies and trust funds and other things in our name, and then when we die, we get big payoff.
Karen, out of all any and all advice you can give to a TI, what would the major advice be? What would, like, the top advice do you think could be?
Oh, wow. That's going to be difficult because I don't know everybody's situations. I mean, I've had people call me and say, and almost apologize for not going on radio programs and talking about it, and they've got small children that they have to worry about. My first advice is protect yourself. Learn everything you can about shielding, and I would tell people it's the shielding material has got to be heat resistant. You've got to think in that vein. Copper grill paint, that's heat resistant to 1,000 degrees. First and foremost, protect yourself because your life is valuable. Second, keep that evidence, whether you come out with it right now or not, keep track of that evidence because we're all going to need it. You're going to need what I collect. I'm going to need what you collect. Try to keep a positive attitude and just tell yourself this year it's over. Okay, this year is over. We're going to make sure it's over. And just, keep your life together, keep your marriage together, keep your children protected, keep that evidence coming. If you have tips, if you have insight into something, tell us. Contact me, contact Romola. Tell us so we can put this big picture together. We're not the only people pushing, but I figure the more the merrier. If you have your own group, let's say you're in Chicago and you know 5 people who are TIs, you can help each other, Find those people if you don't know, You need a little group that you can work with and support each other, absolutely,
Yes, I agree. It's just...
But I would say, too, let me add this for anybody who's a believer. I am in touch with a group of 79 churches. And they have had their pastors praying from Monday through Friday, praying and fasting, and we're talking water only. They're switching pastors every week, okay? They're praying for God to open this up and free us.
That was awesome.
79 churches.
Wonderful.
Wow.
So if you want to dedicate yourself and say, I'm going to pray every evening and read my Bible every evening for half an hour, an hour, then you may join that. And if you're a believer, and I would suggest that that is something very spiritual you can do because we win our battles on our knees, we get our marching plans on our knees, and God works behind the scene. But we need to do everything we can, but know that we've got to put effort into the spiritual realm as well, and that's my opinion. I don't want to offend anybody, but that is my sincere opinion.
Mine too. Karen, I'd like to ask something quickly that has to do with the rally here. I certainly will do what you're talking about. I'm a faithful person, too. I appreciate your faith. I appreciate everything that you are able to do. You're very articulate. Your mind is together on this. And the only thing I can contribute, I'm on the West Coast and I don't travel, so I won't be able to be there. But I can do something like draw things. And I need people or somebody to get together and not do it a few days before, but come up with some kind of a symbol or a logo that's going to be recognized, maybe across the country, across Washington on that day. Because I understand we'll have two different spots for it. And if we have a stationary rally in Lafayette Park and a moving demonstration at the White House, let people be able to walk by and say, oh, I know that group, maybe they have some information. Then Frank would have a printout ready for them to read. But I need some ideas on how, because everybody comes from a different direction on it.
Right. Well, I just gave my email, so feel free to use it. And we'll brainstorm, and I'll ask for any other artists in the community to brainstorm as well.
But we have quite a few artists, I believe, in the community, too. And Frank, I would appreciate if you'd give Karen my telephone number. He has my telephone number. It's Lonnie.
Hi, Lonnie.
Thank you.
Certainly. I certainly will do that. And Karen, I had an idea. I'm not sure. I figured I'd run it by you. There was a lot of activity in Hollywood concerning MK Ultra and targeting. I thought I'm trying to figure out the best way to contact these people. I know they have agents. I know they have security. Is there a way we can do a publication in Hollywood and try and get people like Lady Gaga, who's been a victim of this apparently, to come?
Has she?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I did not know that.
And
well, there are Christian actors too. Maybe we can try to appeal to them, like Kevin Sorbo and others. So
Randy Quaid. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he's been a victim. I know he's been a victim.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That's another idea.
Or Stein, the Jewish guy, the Clarize guy as well. He said that there was a coup between the courthouses trying to overthrow the democracy of the people.
Who is this?
Stein, you know the Clarize guy?
Oh, okay.
He came forward and said that there's a coup between the courts trying to overthrow the rights of the general people, and I think he was talking about this program exactly that we're in right now.
Okay, I bet you, because, I mean, how many of these things can be going around, you know? This seems to be all interconnected, amazingly interconnected. So it's like, I've told people, you know, even if we got every single guilty person rounded up, gee whiz, where would we put them? We'd have to use the FEMA camps.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Karen, have you written any books, or do you plan on writing any books?
I am planning on putting all of this in a book if I survive, and I do plan on writing a book. I've got some of the early years documented that I was going through this garbage with NSA alone, and what I need to do is start the second part where they essentially came down to Florida after I'd left Maryland and then turned the InfraGard and everybody in Florida against me. So that's the second part that I plan on writing. But, you know, heaven knows there are so many people with so many books, you know, that need to be told. That they need to be told.
Yeah, I just read Dr. John Hall's book, New Breed, which was a great book. Can you do you have any special books that helped you, through this? I mean, a lot of people have come out with books. I read some good ones, and I read some bad ones, and a couple have actually helped me. New Breed had some helpful tips. Is there any books that influenced you, that helped you?
I would say on this topic, no. I mean, my general go-to book is the Bible, and I was rather amazed to find a verse in there that said that basically the airways belong to Satan, and I said, oh, dear God, I could not have imagined that this was yet another meaning. But I have not had a minute to sit down really and read any of these books, even though I know there are many that are out there that are very good. I cannot recommend anyone because I have not read them myself. So I do apologize. I haven't had a minute to sit down and read something like that.
Well, I hope you get a minute so you can, sit down
I
and
do
relax
too.
for a minute or two, right? Yeah.
I do
Well, we
too.
all,
I
right?
was a big reader.
Karen,
Definitely.
Karen, I know we're bombarding you with questions, but this is such a great opportunity. What part or how big of a part do you think the FCC plays in this whole thing when they're supposedly the police of the sky? They're it's their job to police the skies, and I would think the abuse that happens, So what part do you think, or how accountable do you think they should be in this whole scenario?
Truly, it sounds like they are not going to be able to say we didn't know anything. It sounds like they've gotten their marching orders maybe from the intelligence community that say just let this go. This is, our field. This is our purview. Just stick your nose out of it. Don't pay attention. Just like a lot of the police departments, even if they're not participating, they are basically ignoring it. They are passively or actively helping. And whether the FCC is passively or actively helping, I think there's going to be blame because they know that these things are going on. They can't not know. I mean, I called the FCC myself in Florida, and they said, no, we can't take a complaint from a private citizen. You have to have the police department or somebody like that call us. And would the police department call them? Of course not.
Exactly right.
So they give you the runaround. They give you the runaround.
That's right. Well, I made, by way of Frank, he asked me to do a couple of things in reference to the Washington trip. I plan on being there for sure. That I contacted the FCC and got a response back, but I didn't know how far to involve myself in a letter. I just kind of kept it brief that we are a human rights organization. I didn't want to scare them off because I didn't want them to slam the door in our face before we could get in. But I just said we are a human rights organization that have a planned trip to Washington, and we welcome the opportunity to meet with you. I did the chairman, supposedly the leaders that they had on paper, the chairman, a couple of the commissioners, and I got a response back from the chairman's office, within an hour, saying that they wanted they needed more information before they could okay it. They asked that they needed the number of attendees, what the topic would be, and the names. A lot of the senators are asking for a listing of the names of the people that are going to attend this meeting and what the topic is going to be. So I didn't know, and this is, of course, trying to get a meeting with FCC, if that was a good idea, and then how to go about, I guess, a conversation with them and to get back to them on what our topic is going to be, because whatever our topic is going to be, I'm sure they could say that they're tied up or whatever. Do you have any suggestions on trying to get a meeting, or to go about, with a letter, to be able to get in the door at least?
Well, go ahead and shoot me an email. Shoot me an email, and then I'll discuss it with other people, and we can see if we can't maybe come up with something having to do with radio frequencies and their misappropriation, their misuse, maybe their health effects, that type of thing is probably how you're going to want to approach the FCC.
Okay. I sent Frank a copy of the letter that I submitted to them, but he didn't get a copy of their response, and I can send you a copy of their response also.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Karen, this is Frank.
Yes.
I noticed I've been going over, I have 22 patents that relate to some of the hardware that they're using. And I noticed in the area where the heterodyning, if you will, touches the skin or manipulates the skin, very high frequency is used, or VHF. Now,
yes, I'm recipient of that right now. That's what they've been doing to me here for about 6 or 7 weeks. And Now it's gotten to the point that I almost can't hear it, but it still is burning and making me dizzy. So it's heterodyning and then an offshoot of that of some kind.
Now, what I noticed is it's on the patents, and what has been released lately within the past 5 to 6, 7 years, the TV broadcasting has gone strictly digital, and that leaves this VHF and UHF bands wide open. So Michelle had mentioned the FCC. It might be a good idea to check with them and find out what these bands that are now free are being used for.
Well, that's true. That would be a FOIA request, and I do believe somebody is having really good luck with FOIAs under Muck Rock or Muck Rake or something like that.
Yes,
I'll have to look that up.
Yes.
It's called Muck Rock.
Yeah.
Yes, so that might be a very good FOIA to put through Muck Rock as to what in the world is going on with VHF and UHF. Who has licensed those, and is somebody supposed to be using them or not? And if they're not, then can they check and see if they're not being used anyway and possibly for a harmful purpose?
Ramona D actually did showed a copy of what she did through Muck Rock, and in Muck Rock it shows you exactly how to go about by sending letters to wherever, FBI, CEA, whatever.
Okay, excellent.
And so that it's a good website to check out.
Oh, it's an excellent website. I haven't even gotten through the entire thing yet, but she's done a brilliant job. She really has.
Yeah.
Can I make a comment about the today I heard on the radio PBS is selling its I don't know how this works and how it affects us, but it sold its location on the bandwidth to Verizon or supposedly to cell phone carriers for $94 billion. The United States government is trying to buy people's frequent bandwidths or something, and PBS sold it for just to move over a little bit. They got $94 billion, but I don't know if I hope that isn't freeing up more stuff to hurt us with. I don't know. But anyway, I just want to make that comment. Yeah, I just heard it today.
All right, I will try to find an article on that. That is very important to know and to watch.
Yeah, so I live in Newport, Rhode Island, but it was on the news today for someone from PBS. I think it's from Massachusetts, but I'm not really sure what that means. So if it's good or bad for us, so I think we need to watch it.
Actually, since you're from Rhode Island, I wanted to tell you that I spoke to a Mrs. Crippen under the Attorney General and was telling her about this email campaign. And she did not, their site for the Attorney General isn't working in regard to this type of campaign. So I spoke to her and she said, why don't you go ahead and send this letter to me at my private email? And I have, had to promise that I won't give it out, but I explained what the campaign is about. And I sent her the letter and I sent her my credentials. So if you, as a resident of Rhode Island, might drop her a note, and send her a printed copy of the tsunami email and say, Karen Stewart said to contact you and tell you I am yet one of who knows how many in Rhode Island who has been affected by this.
Okay. Now, are you saying the United States Attorney General or the Attorney General, Peter Martin?
Rhode Island, yes. I spoke to Mrs. Crippen, Crippen, and I believe she's in the criminal department, but you'll have to look her up on the website under the Attorney General. You can send it to the Attorney General.
I can barely hear you. There's a million cop cars outside my house, which is interesting. But, okay, I'll find her. I will find her.
Yes, she, like I said, she was nice enough to call me and speak to me. So I would like to.
Oh my God! I can't believe someone knows. I mean, I'm really glad. I mean, I have been having. I sent the president 3 emails the other, Twitter actually, tweets, because my communication's been shut off. So, but yeah, I'm glad. That makes me feel better. I'm like suffering here.
Yeah, just mention my name. Say you spoke to Karen Stewart. I spoke to Karen Stewart. This is a letter that she was talking about. I am part of this group being absolutely viciously harassed, and for no reason, innocent people. And that will tell her that I'm not some crazy person who called her up and just made up a story.
Okay.
And I know somebody else in Rhode Island. I'm going to ask her to do the very same thing. But if you would follow up, that'll help.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I'll go up there if I have to, because I mean, I live right next to the new naval base, and you know, Raytheon, yeah, and I'm having a hard time. I didn't know anybody. I mean, I met a couple people but they're not really in the activism part, and I'm getting beat every day. That's why I tweeted to the president. I don't even know if he got it. He probably didn't even whatever, but
there was another campaign that said, tweet to him. Everybody just hit him with tweets saying, we're being victimized. And that wasn't my campaign. I didn't come up with it, but I love it. It fits hand in glove with what we're doing, and nobody's doing anything to compete with each other. Like I said, everybody needs to be pounding on doors, and God knows what doors are going to open, but if we're all pounding on them, some door is going to open somewhere. And we're saying this year. We've got to make the effort so that it is this year, because who knows how many people we're going to lose.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine living. I mean, this is since Christmas, the elevation with the burning, the assault, and I've done other things, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if people know what it is or not. Can I ask you, do you think this is experimentation? Do you think this is a non-consensual experimentation thing, or do you think it's, I mean, I guess everybody's different, but do you think some people think that it's for experimentation purposes?
I would say that some of it is out and out, already known. It's silent assassinations for various reasons, like whistleblowers. For me, Bill Black Jr. doesn't like the fact that I know that 9/11 was stymied, that they didn't allow people to report about it, and that all those lives were pretty much, they were murdered, because we had all the information. So I'm a whistleblower, and he wants me dead because he doesn't want to go to prison. But there are other people, for other reasons, they're being tortured and murdered. That's not an experiment. There may be some new things they roll out where they are experimenting, but the vast majority of it pretty much is tried and true, and they know the protocols to use on people, like we microwave them, then we heterodyne them, then we do this, then we do that, then we can expect them to be dead or have cancer in 6 months. So a lot of the protocol is pretty well known. And I think some of it, unfortunately, also has to do with the UN and depopulation. They've got multiple goals of this, depopulation of every country in the world, because this is happening in every country of the world. It's like they pick out 10% of their population just to murder, and then the contractors get to sell all these devices to people all over the world. They don't have a limited market like they do with the United States government, so they're selling them to people in Jamaica and other ridiculous places where they shouldn't have these things at all. And it's a good way to hide. Like some of the women I've spoken to are ex-wives of contractors who's put contracts out on them to kill them because they dared divorce them. Some of it has to do with somebody knows that Susie Smith has a huge inheritance, and so they're going to murder Susie Smith and then step into her identity and steal her inheritance. So a lot of people are targeted because there's money behind them. I mean, it's a multiplicity of reasons, and it's an intermingled crime syndicate with people in every level of government, federal, state, local, police. They all get dibs, and it's like this big brotherhood, and they think they're so immense and everything's so complicated they'll never get caught, so they're very blatant about it.
Mm. Well, I'll send you. So my name's Joan Dobbins. I'll send you an email when I contact this woman. I'll tell her.
Okay. I think that's wonderful. And I will try to get the other person I know in Rhode Island to do the same.
Yeah, do you know if she's going to, well, I wanted to ask you about the, May 24th. Is there any way that we could speak to any legislators or anything, or is it just going to be an outside kind of thing, or what do you think?
Well, see, I'm not planning this, so I don't really know what people are trying to do, but I would say that if we all look up at least our own, congressmen, senators, et cetera, and send them this tsunami letter and then say, by the way, add to it and say, May 24th, I'm going to be in Washington, D.C., and I would like an audience with you, and some of my constituents would like an audience with you, or some congressional, group to talk to you about this. We're going to be there on the 24th. May we speak to you on the 23rd or the 25th, or can you come out and send somebody to speak to us at this location? So I would add that to the tsunami email.
Does anyone else get gang stalked by high-ranking celebrities and Masons?
I don't know that. I don't know any of my stalkers level.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know if they're Masons or not. But, this just spans from the top to the bottom. It's just astonishing. And I would say it's not only an effort to cull out every single decent person in society, but it also actually culls out every single psychopath into the stalker side of things. So
Yeah,
what we have are the very, very worst stalking the very, very best, in my opinion.
Bryce Taylor go by me one time and told me out of a car window that I was in the MK Ultra program.
Who did?
Bryce Taylor.
Okay. Yeah.
CIA sex slave. That was in the echelon of the higher end of society, and she was a whistleblower, Ted Gunderson.
Uh-huh.
And she actually by me and let me know amidst the flash mob that was going on that I was a higher level target, and that I was in the same program as her and Janet Jackson.
Oh, good gosh.
Oh.
I love to live to see Donald Trump send the Army to the homes of all of the intelligence community leadership and just arrest them.
Yeah, that's what should be done.
It should be. It really should be.
What is your impression of him? I do wonder, when I send him tweets, he probably doesn't know what I'm talking about, but he must know, right, what's going on? I mean, he's been a couple of months.
Not sure. No, we're not sure, but Romola did write that memo to Trump, and we have been trying to get it to him continuously any way we can. Okay? Well, I tell people, look, he is a wrench in the spokes. Neither the Democrats nor the Republicans liked him. So he must be doing something right, because these people are thoroughly corrupted, and they are selling us down the river right and left. So what they did not want was him in there. So as far as I'm concerned, that shows to me that they are afraid that he's going to stop what's going on. So that gives me hope. That alone gives me hope. Is he a spoiled rich brat? Maybe. But he has done things in his history, such as be told that so-and-so's mother is in the hospital and they have no money for hospital bills, they're about to lose their house, and he'll write out a check for them. And he doesn't publicize it. I have seen a list of things that he's done that are just altruistic. But, like I said, can he be a rich, spoiled brat? Sure. But he seems to have a good heart when he's not being a jerk, And I think that if we can get it across to him that this is actually happening, I think he will take action. But look at everything that's happening to him. They're trying to say that he's a Russian spy, and they're trying to block every single thing. And so he's got a zillion fires to put out right now so that he can do what he promised. And he is it looks like he's bending over backwards to do every single thing that he promised. Now, is he going to get lied to? Is he going to get misled by people who claim that they're there for him? Yes. He's going to have to ferret out people who are there to sabotage him. So I'm saying give him 6 months and see if things don't start to actually get better, where people start to shut up, criticizing him, and he's going to start making a huge, better effect for the United States. And I do think in this year, in this time period, he's going to realize what really is going on, and he's going to start to take action. But this is a huge problem. So if he realizes it's going on and mulls it over and gets people to tell him how to approach this, because it's huge. It's huge. Like I said, you would have to use the FEMA camps to put everybody involved away. So give him some time, but don't quit trying.
Yes.
We need everybody.
That's right. I have a personal story to add to Donald Trump. Being a flight attendant, I worked for him. He was my boss for a few years, and let me tell you, there, like Karen said, there is a side of him. Donald Trump was the best boss we had through a revolving door at the time. I came from, I started out with Eastern Airlines. Then Trump bought out a portion of that airline when it went under, and it was called the Trump Shuttle. So that's who I worked for. That's what I worked for years. Let me tell you, he gave us, to this day, we still benefit from what he did for us as employees. He agreed to, we were unionized as flight attendants. He agreed to everything we asked from him, and including our seniority, everything, which means everything in this business, that if we were ever bought and sold, that we will also go along with that, with us being sold, that we were able to keep our seniority, our monies involved, everything. He agreed to it. He didn't fight us on our contract, in a nutshell. And today we still reap the benefits of that. He was the best boss we had, and he's got a lot of pluses and minuses. He took care of us as employees, and I just wanted to add that. There is a side to him that does care about that he protected us, in other words, in a nutshell.
I have hope. I personally have hope. Like I said, is he perfect? No. But is he the one to get it done? I think so.
Yeah.
We present our case, and people have, they whine and cry and scream, he just signed, something where he gave the military more money. Well, he didn't know what that money's going for. I mean, if they tell him it's for bombers and it's for mutilating us, he's trusting people to tell him. He's got to learn who's lying to him and who's not. If we can get through to him and say, these programs are hidden within a multiplicity of programs. You've got to ferret them out. You've got to zero-base things and have people explain to you what this or that program is. And any program that looks suspicious, you've got to delve into. I mean, this is hidden under, 1,000 nutshells. It's pea under 1,000 nutshells. It is going to be very difficult to get it out. Some of these programs are hidden in universities and medical laboratories and, weapons testing and things like that. It's just they have spread it far and wide, but I think we can do it. And I think this is the guy to do it. And we cannot say, whine about it and not do anything. We've got to all do something now.
That's right. That's right. This country has a history of the medical field and the military in cahoots with using people and at their detriment, of course. People died all, through history from part of it being experimentation. And they got past it, and the truth came to surface. And I'm a believer. I believe, that every ugly truth comes to light. And,
we point to those things.
It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. It's coming.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't have the
but
time.
We point to
those
things.
Yeah. This is urgent. This is urgent.
This year. This year is our
motto,
okay? And we point to those things, the Tuskegee experiments, and other, like the experiments in Guatemala, and just all kinds of things. We point to those. We ferret them out. We name them. We say the years that they happened, and then say, tell us this isn't going on. Where did this come from? They have a history of it. We're telling you it's happening again. We're not telling you that this angelic government that's been, our benefactor for, over 200 years has suddenly turned evil. No, we're telling you they're doing this again. There's MK Ultra, there's COINTELPRO. There's a history here, and we're telling you that it's happening again.
Exactly right.
So,
And in 1994, I think it was, I got the video of a YouTube video of the former President Bill Clinton acknowledging that people were being experimented on against their will.
Yep.
And there was acknowledgement right there by a president. What more do you need?
Exactly. And that is mentioned too. That should be mentioned too. I mean, you're talking about signs. That should be something, where the experimentations are listed, so people say, "Oh, wow, they're right," and then the apology.
Right.
So,
That was
what was President Clinton apologizing for if this doesn't go on?
plutonium cornflakes.
And that's from
sorry?
the president of the country, the president. So, you can't get higher than that as far as acknowledgement.
Right. Exactly.
can I ask another question? Carol, what are your thoughts about Morgellons disease, and do you know of any protocols? Is this happen to a certain amount of people, or do all TIs have it? Or,
I am
just
learning about that. I'm just learning about that, and I'm horrified that it can be dropped from the chemtrails. I have read some people posturing that you can actually detox and get rid of them. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that bears further investigation. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But we need to investigate that to see if detoxing actually does help in that situation. But I have read a little bit about that. I'm not an expert, but I have read a little bit about that, and it does very much alarm me.
Do you think it's good? Do you think you have it? Like, do you think it's going on within you? Because most TIs that I've spoken to have Morgellons also, Well,
I'm going to have to read and find out how I would tell if that's a possibility. Right now, I would tell you that I think I've got maybe 2 or 3 chips for GPS.
Yep.
So they can locate me wherever I go and inside a building, so they know if I'm in the bedroom or the living room, or if I'm a block away in the woods. So I think I have that, and I'm definitely getting hit with directed energy weapons. Now, I have noticed nothing else.
Okay, yeah.
Can I ask you your opinion about cars? How are they doing it in cars? Is there something put in this is Joan from Rhode Island. I tried the copper thing on my low back, and maybe I should put it, I'm going to have to wear a whole vest thing. But is it, do you know, are they putting something in the cars, and the people driving by, do they have something that's in their cars that are doing it? Oh, okay, so it is, I know like one of, so some of I am taking the plates down and stuff like that, and so when it happens.
And I would tell you that it seems to me like they have devices they can attach inside the engine compartment, and they seem to be able to turn them on with their light. Okay, so the vast majority, in fact, I don't even know if I've ever been followed by somebody with one of those devices that I could feel who did not have their lights on. So I do think that they attach them to the engine through the light, but they can also have them in the trunk, and I would suspect that when they put them in the trunk, like let's say Frank or Fred or whoever has the assignment to follow you, today. And so he's going to have it in the engine. But Susie has the assignment to get ahead of you as much as possible, and she's going to have a device in her trunk that is pointing backwards. And very likely she's going to have maybe a battery pack on hers. So they do follow you with active directed energy weapons. And I will tell you what I have done. I have an SUV, and I took the back interior off, and I sprayed the metal with grill paint that you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's, and that is heat resistant up to 1,000 degrees. Okay, So you paint the inside of the metal with grill paint, thick, thick, thick. And if you wanted to, you could add copper foil inside, because copper foil actually reflects more of these waves, the broader spectrum of these waves than even aluminum does. But the grill paint in the back will keep you from getting fried. And you also go to whatever auto store and you get the window tinting that is highly heat resistant and put it in your window. You don't have to have the self-adhesive. Get the kind you put on with water so that if you ever don't want it there, you just take it off and you haven't harmed anything. You haven't harmed your window. But you need something highly reflective and highly heat resistant in the back of your car so that when they do this to you, it pretty much doesn't do anything, and it even with the copper, it reflects back into their own car.
Okay.
That grill paint that that grill paint that you spoke of, where did you say you got that, at Lowe's? Or?
Lowe's or Home Depot. It is paint made for your grill, your outdoor grill.
Oh, okay.
And you look and it says it's heat resistant up to 11 or 1200 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a limitation for shielding is the one based in alloy that is actually the best against radiation and absorbs the most radiation is actually lead. That's actually been used in fallout shelters because it can absorb even gamma radiation, which is the highest base of frequency on the spectrum. So it has the highest base of... So it absorbs the most protons and energy that they use for the neural network programming that goes through us. So every phone and device that we use is actually a base end of radiation is what the spectrum is, the light spectrum is all radiation. So we have something that absorbs the most protons, it absorbs the most radiation itself. So that would actually be lead because it's the highest base atomic number.
Can I add?
Well, the problem is getting lead. I mean, lead paint is illegal, and I guess they anticipated not wanting anybody to have lead paint in their home.
You know, I'm a roofer, so you could actually buy lead sheets, like long lead sheets, like 40 square for $200, and line it on the side end walls. Yeah, so you could go and buy it in sheets, and you could layer it on the walls because what they're using is linear-based weaponry. Microwaves can't just radiate; they have to pinpoint on our geopolitical location. So by our position location, they have to have a focused beam to be on us 24/7 in order to use this device, the microwaves on us, in order to read our biometric scan and to read our minds, you know, using the DWs. So the only way to stop it would be use either a biometric field generator, which is a magnetic flux generator, which would change the positive to negatives to keep the beta particles together so they could get the right X and no X in triangle frequency, or to actually keep the gamma radiation and other radiations from penetrating through our walls and getting to us.
Listen,
So
can you write this up? Yeah, can you write this up for me and send it to the email that I gave everyone? And we need to disseminate this.
Readers that actually transmit frequencies, and you can read and transmit a frequency in the Geiger meter. Well, if you use the Geiger meter, you can figure out which area you're getting targeted from by where it lights up. And you could go in a 360 and you could hold the Geiger meter and figure out where the linear beam's coming from. And you put the lead right there from the apartment or the area where you think you're getting zapped from. And it should stop you from getting that sickness feeling that when everyone knows what it is. When you get that weird feeling like you just gotten through chemotherapy, you know, it'll stop that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
no, that's been valuable. Thank you very much.
I'd like to add to what Steve said. There's a substance called boron that's used in nuclear reactors. When the rods are pushed in, that stops the nuclear reaction. When they are pulled out, the nuclear reaction resumes.
So, go online and check what
makes sense it would make sense to...
I have lead. You might be hurting me in here, but that thing is backfiring on you. You know, there's also people are getting when they are getting
Can you speak up? Please speak closer to your phone. Steve, can you speak closer?
Your body. I have lead in here. you might be able to hit me.
Yeah, you can't hear him.
You would be
Steve,
Listen, guys, let me ask you something. If anybody who's on this call, could you send me an email so I know who you are, and then we can continue?
Definitely, definitely.
Okay.
Now, Karen, if I wanted you your recordings, do you have any other shows like that you're going to do within the next month or so?
I don't know, but I'll send you a full repertoire of what I have done.
Yeah.
I am doing right now the World Beyond Belief with Romola D. and Catherine Horton and Millicent Black. We're on episode number 5, WBB World Beyond Belief with Dr. Paul Marco. So that is going on, I think, 11 o'clock every Thursday morning. Other than that, I don't have anything planned yet, at the moment. But I'll send you a full repertoire.
Yeah. When do you think you'll be finishing your book? No, I think you're very courageous, and I'm really happy to be speaking to you like this. You're doing the world a huge big plus. Making it a better place, to tell you that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I've told people, look, I'm retired. My husband and I, thank God, at this point didn't have children, so I can speak up. So I'm going to continue to speak up until nobody wants to hear me anymore. Then I'm going to be very glad to step away.
There you go. Very good. That's awesome.
I want to say, too, that I really appreciate everything. We all appreciate you guys being at the forefront of this battle and taking it on like you've taken it on, especially during such hard times, under attack. And, I tell you, you took the reign and you're leading us in a direction that, and doing some things that needed to happen. And I tell you, just at a point where I'm still just not believing that this is all taking place. There's a part of me that's still like, who knew of the corruption in this country? I never would imagine in my wildest dreams that anything like this was in existence, or that the people that are in place to protect us would be the ones, the ones doing it at the
Exactly.
So to not be able to get assistance from the people that you always depended on, and then to still come out fighting is, really, we're so grateful for you guys and what you've done, because it's not easy, of course.
It's great to hear that we're doing something right. I mean, we're putting a whole lot of effort into things, and we're hoping and praying. And to get feedback that you guys think we're going the right direction is just wonderful beyond belief. We do appreciate it, and I will be passing that on to Romola and Catherine and Millicent. We're trying, and if anybody has suggestions or criticisms or whatever, let me know, because we don't know everything.
One way
there could be an idea out there that would be wonderful, and we haven't thought of it. Somebody else has thought of it. So they need to tell us if they want us to try this or that. We're open.
That's right. Yes. Yes. That's the beauty of it, I think, with all of the evil that's happening, that it's uniting some good people. And I always think in the end that good wins over. And because we have the best support, and I'm a and as long, I always say, we have the MVP on our side. So we're gonna, there's no losing when you have the MVP on your side. And I know that right now things are running amok, and I think it's at its height, and it's been going on for years, and nothing stays the same. And eventually, when things run amok, that's just symptomatic of being out of control and out of hand. And then at the end of that, then comes the light. and then comes change. Because you can only be chaotic for so long, and then a change takes place to turn it in the other direction. And I think that
Oh,
time has come.
I think so. And, I don't want to offend anybody who's not Christian, but those are my beliefs. And I do think that massive prayer for the last 2 or 3 or more years put God back in the arena, and he said, all right, this last election, I'm picking who wins. And that's what I'm going on, because the prayers of so very many Christians went up to his ears and said, all right, we've screwed up, we haven't been what we should be, and now we're being ruled by people who do not have our best interests in heart. Please return to us. And I think this is the sign. Like I said, he didn't pick Franklin Graham, all right? For whatever reason, he didn't pick Franklin Graham. He didn't pick Ben Carson, which kind of surprised me. But he chose this man, and I've heard from, modern day prophets, because, basically, I think, I don't remember where it says in the Bible, but it says, I do not do a great thing without telling my people. And he's been telling his modern day prophets that this is his choice, that he is, as long as we keep praying, and as long as we keep in mind that, we strayed and let evil people into office, as long as we keep praying and keep on track, that he will bless this country again, and he will get rid of all the evil. And we're riding that tidal wave.
Yeah.
He's put it in place so we can step in and ride this tidal wave of cleansing the United States to this point where it should be.
Yes. Why do you think there's a worldwide depopulation going on? What do you think's about to happen?
Oh, brother, that's the insanity of the global elite. The people who have probably 90% of the money on the planet have decided that running things just isn't, having 1 million houses and yachts and things like that just isn't enough for them. They want to live forever, and they don't like people telling them through democracies that, no, you can't do this. And they've decided that it would be a much better place for them if they decided who was elite and who was a slave race, and they didn't have to put up with all these people in between. So it's demonic, it's insane, and the saying where they talk about the fact that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So we've gotten people in charge with their money who have so very much money, they've lost touch with their humanity, and they think they're gods. And this is, I think, a direct problem from that. That's my opinion.
It's a worldwide thing, and people are being murdered left and right, and it's horrible.
That's why I put it with world depopulation, because they're. I got in touch with him. The man from Zimbabwe told me that he's being targeted. Zimbabwe.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really is.
If it's anywhere it isn't, then I don't know, because I read about them about there being gang stalking in Iceland.
Yeah. Yes, I was listening to a podcast the other night, and the guy went through 8 different countries, and he said that everywhere there was gang stalking, but the least gang stalking was in Ecuador, and the reason why is because they don't have the money that they have in the United States to do it. He said it's still going on, but it's not as strong as it was in the United States.
Oh,
yeah, that's just crazy.
It is. It's a worldwide wide insanity, and I do link it to the spirit of the Antichrist, and that's why I tell people we're in a. I think we're in
an apocalypse.
Period of mercy. I think we're in a period of mercy. So we need to pray and let God expand that mercy. I mean, if we're lucky, we may get 2 terms of Trump. And if he's God's choice, then imagine the good he can do reversing all this garbage in 8 years.
Sure.
I mean, look at the damage that was done in the 8 years before and the 8 years before that.
Exactly.
Like I said, I don't care for Bush. I don't care for Obama.
Yeah.
Evil is evil. I don't care what what moniker you wear, whether you say you're Democrat or Republican. If you're evil, you're evil.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people are being added to being becoming TIs each day. Like what's the increase? Or at they stop adding to our to this population of targeted individuals. I just wonder if on a daily basis, how many more TIs are being added to the list.
I guess we would have to FOIA the Department of Homeland Security and say how many people were added to the terrorist watch list, and then we would have to extrapolate the fact that probably 90% are innocent people.
Yeah.
Karen, could you explain, if you can, I've heard like the fusion centers, watch list, terrorist list, no-fly list. I called Trey Gowdy a week or two ago, and the woman who answered the phone only knew about the no-fly list. She didn't know about any other list. But could you tell us, like, what kind of lists are there that could to start this, to orchestrate this thing against someone?
That's a very good question, because we question how many fake lists there are. Because if I would, let's say you would want to rent somebody, I would say I have an apartment or a house, and I will go through certain service to go and investigate you, and they say, okay, well, she's got one speeding ticket, and that's about it. Okay, so you're good. If you're a targeted person, they're going to go to the fake bio on you to say that you're this or that, and then I'm not going to let you rent because I've been shown the fake bio. So there's the real information out there, and then there's the fake information. So the watch list supposedly has terrorists who have threatened to do harm to us, but if you and I are on it, then how much of a fraudulent list is that? Or are they running concurrent lists for real terrorists and the fake terrorists that they're using to bloat their money and power? This isn't entirely clear. We need to find this out. But I know that there are concurrent fake biographies and legal records on people that are untrue.
Would that be with the FBI?
Well, I would say the FBI is deeply involved. Absolutely deeply involved. I mean, from their COINTELPRO history that they are, if you talk to an FBI agent, is he law enforcement or is he criminal? You can't tell.
I know. I mean, I also had said on a previous call about being hopeful that because, like in Rhode Island, President Trump called for resignation or fired the United States Attorney Generals in every state, I believe. Well, the majority of them. So there's been a change. Like in Rhode Island, it was Democrat. So now he left. So as far as policing, the head guy is now a Republican, which is a change. And it's happened. I think he replaced 50 of them across the country. The United States Attorney General. So I think that's hopeful also for us too, because there's been a change at that level.
Yes. Absolutely. And I say this again, when there is regime change, you get rid of all the good old boy network, and somebody is more likely to take their job seriously and be absolutely appalled at what you're telling them.
Yeah. Early on, I was silly enough to think, when I was reaching out try to get help in different places, I wound up calling an FBI office, to give the information, and the agent, he hung up on me. I said, oh, now looking back, it was like, what a stupid move that was. He just hung up.
No, well, I will tell you that I did that too, and was hung up on. As soon as they heard my name, I was hung up on.
I did that too. Yeah.
So they're in on it. They're absolutely in on it.
But then I did the FOIA requests, and I asked every FBI, CIA, Boston Police, all of them, if there was any kind of investigation or anything like that, and every one of them said no. So I mean, who's
Well,
doing
see,
this?
yeah, I got back something from the federal attorney in Florida in 2013 saying, no, there's nothing on you. There's no investigation. There are no accusations, et cetera, et cetera. And yet in 2015, boom, I'm being stalked and harassed by Florida FBI and Florida Department of Law Enforcement and InfraGard, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, there's, like you said, again, they've got to be cooking the books where they have the real books and then they have the fraudulent ones.
Exactly. Because if you are, it's your right to know that you are being investigated for something, And
Well,
unless
they're doing everything they can to make sure you cannot exert your rights.
Exactly.
When I was at NSA and I was sending off FOIAs to see, why am I being persecuted? Who has said what about me? They would intercept my letters so that I couldn't utilize the FOIA privilege.
Sure. Yeah.
So they want to make it look like we're the same country we always were, and they're sabotaging everything. It's like termites in the wood. We are rotten to the core.
Exactly.
Yeah. And of course, the role that the medical profession plays. When I, by way of work, I was when I was silly enough to think that I could turn to, because it started at work, and after years, it never stopped. So I finally got to a place where I needed to try to reach out for some help, and went to a supervisor, and that ended in me, of course, going to the company psychologist that deemed me delusional, and
they're ignorant, so we're delusional.
Of course.
Exactly.
I said I'd rather be delusional than evil, basically to myself. But anyway, so then the psychologist, after saying what was going on, he said, "Well, why would somebody go after you?" And I knew, so you're in a position where you're having to make sense of a bully's actions. I said, I don't know. You'd have to ask the bully. I don't know.
Well, you're exactly right. And I have told him, I said, how do I, a normal person, explain the mind of a psychopath?
That's right. That's right. You're asking the wrong person.
Yes.
Exactly right.
And
can I jump in
also,
here?
Sure.
You know that the UK had this program also. They called it Control Orders, and they went public with it. And there was such an outcry from the public that they cut it back to like 3 people. Now, I know that there's still targeting going on because of that program. They also mentioned in the write-up that there's a covert aspect of it. And I think this is why you can't do a FOIA on this, because this is covert. They are not public at all with this.
Okay, I don't know about the UK, but in the United States, and I don't remember the name of the law, but there is a law that says you cannot claim classification or national security as a means to hide a crime only. If the only reason that you're saying I'm not going to give you this information is to protect the criminals, then the fact that you've classified it is void. So I think that
but you've got to get that in the court and prove it. That's the moot point. That has to be taken into court.
You put it in the FOIA to begin with, to let them know that you know.
Yes. Okay, and then what?
Well, and see if that has any bearing on how they respond to you, because you've just told them you know what they're doing is illegal, and if they choose to do it anyway, then you have a stronger court case because you have told them in your letter that you know it's illegal to merely classify something to hide the criminal activity of it.
Do you have the numbers of that law that you just spoke of?
I'll, send me an email and I'll try to find it. I don't remember it. I know like U.S. Code 18, Section 241 prohibits like people conspiring to deprive us of our constitutional rights. Section 242 basically forbids people to do the same thing under color of law. And 18 U.S. Code is really full of things that apply to us, including outlawing directed energy weapons and things like that. But I don't remember right now the exact number for the federal law that forbids classification as a means to hide criminal activity. But it exists.
Okay.
I've seen it.
I'd be interested in that. If you know who this is?
By voice, no.
This is Memoir. This is Barbara Gillette.
All right. Okay. Yeah, send me an email, and this will give me a list of things to do, and it'll let me know with whom I've been speaking tonight.
I just sent you a PDF, and it is a old file that Kissinger wrote, and it's on world population. He wrote it in the 70s, and he forecasts in there about what's going on, about how he feels about the population and in the future. I think he goes up until 220, 250. He even goes higher, I think, to 270. And it's pretty interesting because he looks at it globally, and he tells in this report about the population and which countries are expanding their population, and how this has such an effect on a lot of aspects in our lives. I think that a lot of this, what's going on is because of that report, that file. Like I said, I sent you a PDF, and I suggest you read it. I'm on page 60. I think it's like 125 pages. But it's really, really interesting how he formats it, how he explains it. It's really a good report. I know some people...
It's alarming because they're culling the population, and they're serving other needs as a means to do it. And that's why they're saying, oh, well, the population needs to be culled, so it's okay that we do this to them.
Well, I understand that. I do understand that. But I also look at this report and see what he's saying about population. And if you look at the globe today, we are the most successful animal on the planet to breed, and to breed out our resources, like our food supply. We did that at one point, and there was a man who invented a way of expanding our food supply, and the population went along with the expansion of this method. And I understand what he's saying. So okay, granted, I agree. They are culling the population with directed energy weapons. I don't approve of their method.
Yeah, they're doing it covertly. So
but I see their rationale in this report for what they're doing. So you should read it.
Oh God.
Can I ask this question?
I'll take a look at it. Like I said, with all the
I sent it to you in Messenger.
Okay. With all the
money
sent it to you in Messenger. They're using to murder people. I'll look. I'll take a look. They could actually do something constructive instead of destructive.
Oh, of course.
It's ridiculous.
But they've got directed energy weapons. Why would they do anything else? I mean, this is the perfect device. You know, this is the perfect storm.
No, not really. I mean, this is torture.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's torture.
They want to kill someone.
For them, it's the perfect storm. They've got a device that nobody can prove. They've labeled us mentally ill, so that's their cover, and they've got the rationale for it, and that's population control. It's perfect storm.
Now, if you kill people you depopulate. I mean, I do think people are being killed by this, but not right away. But which would be a depopulation. But Karen, do you know Julianne McKinney, and would you say she would support our community or what we're going through? I read reports from her supposedly, and it did. I mean, a lot of stuff she said it happened to me, and it actually just spoke about the stalking program. Would she be somebody that would support us, or?
I don't know. You would have to ask her. I think she's around 70 or so, and so I'm not sure that she has a lot of patience for this anymore. And she is elderly and probably not in the greatest health. But I can pass on to you her Yahoo group email, and you can certainly ask her, but I cannot speak for her.
Yeah, could I have that email?
I don't have it on me, but if you send me an email saying, and just put Julianne McKinney's email, and I'll send it to you because she's made it public. She's made it public with the Yahoo group.
Karen, we've had many people join since you gave your email address. Could you please give that out again? Thank you.
Okay. The one that I have listed with some of my articles is KAMS56 at me.com.
Okay.
Karen, how is the letter writing going?
We're picking up more and more people, I think, every week.
So it's getting better.
Yes.
Good.
I tell people, hey, if you don't find out about the email campaign until the third or fourth week, it doesn't matter. Go back and do week 1 or 2 when you can, or 3.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, Frank. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
That's okay. You had mentioned that you may include, or that it was a good idea to include possibly our trip to Washington. Not so much in that, but yeah. And
sure,
that would get the message across.
If you're going to send this to Senator so-and-so or Congressman so-and-so, go ahead and say, make a personal note at the very beginning, or, just say, hey, by the way, this group is going to be there. These were the days we're going to be there. We're going to be doing this on the 24th, but we'll have time to meet with you the day before or the day after, if you wouldn't mind. We'd really appreciate an audience to tell you about this. Sure. I mean, the email that Catherine Horton wrote was a template for anybody who doesn't want to write anything. They can just copy-paste it and send it. But if you want to do a PS, or if you want to do an introduction, feel free.
A little off topic, but can I ask a question?
Sure.
Hi, Karen. Do you believe in shielding? If so, what do you use for shielding? And how do you cope with directed energy attack?
It's going to depend on what they're using against you, but I try to tell people, first and foremost, what you're trying to shield against is heat. And some of what you need is heat resistant. Some of what you need is reflectivity. And then you're going to have to deal with vibrational weaponry, which is a third category, let's say. Any type of window tinting that is highly reflective, or mylar or something of that nature, is going to reflect back some of this. Aluminum foil, and I would tell people, if you're going to use aluminum foil, 7 layers, because it's more porous than you think. But try mylar, and there are also emergency blankets at Walmart in the camping section that essentially look like they're aluminum. Well, sleep with a sheet under it and a blanket on top of it. Try to fend off whatever you're getting hit with in the night. There is EMF paint that is $300 a bucket, so you may want to make your bedroom the safest room in the house. If you're going to spend that type of money on paint, then make it your bedroom, because you need to sleep, because you need to heal.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Other things that you may consider are shiny copper. You can get aluminum plate, steel plate, copper plate at Lowe's or Home Depot. And if you want to add oomph to them, you take grill paint that is made for your outdoor grill, and it's heat resistant up to like 1,000, about 1,100 or 1,200 degrees. You paint one side of it, and anything shiny you face toward the weaponry, and then with the back side, with the grill paint, it faces you, so that whatever is not deflected by the highly reflective surface, it is absorbed by the heat-resistant surface. Okay. I have used mirrors. I have used highly strong magnets, because they've tried to do V2K, and basically the signal gets twisted by the mirrors and the strong magnets, and I'll hear a word or two off in the room somewhere, but not inside my head. Other things that you have to think about, like electrical tape is highly heat resistant. Let's see what else. Like grill sheet that you use on the grill to cook vegetables so they don't fall in between the bars. That is 500 degrees. You could get a whole bunch of those and put it on your wall or on your sliding glass door. There are, like I said, window tinting. You can even put a huge roll of window tinting that you get for the house. You can put it on your wall. Put it across the window and the wall. Use the blue tape that's meant for paint, and it won't destroy your paint, and it won't destroy your wallpaper, and just put that across your wall, and you can still see it out the window. And again, when we get to something vibrational, then there's a problem. But I will tell you that silicone comes in many forms. You can get trivets. You can get bowl covers that are silicone. You can even take silicone and put it inside your shirt, as long as you have cloth, like a cotton undershirt underneath it, because it needs to not touch your skin. And then you put your clothes on top of it, and it will fend off some of the things that are hitting your heart and your kidneys with. So you can make yourself a little vest out of silicone, or put it. And for women, pardon my being frank, but for women, you can wear a double bra with silicone inside. Okay.
With those cooking, those cooking sheets of silicone, would those work?
Teflon. Yeah, Teflon cookie sheets.
No, it's silicone. You put them like in a cookie sheet. You put them over a cookie sheet. You can buy them 2 in a roll. Those will work.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
And I will tell you, they're very important not only for heat resistance, but because some of the weapons are vibrational. And what happens is that these vibrations overtake you, and they start vibrating you at their vibration, which could destroy your organs. Okay? So you need silicone in that instance, because it basically keeps the vibrations down. It protects you from being overly vibrated and cooked. That will destroy your heart, your kidneys, your lungs, but silicone will help you with vibrational weapons.
Excellent.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And the gentleman who told me about the lead, I appreciate it, because I was not aware that you can buy lead anymore. But apparently, if you know what type of product to look for, you can.
Where did you say to get that? It was cracking. I couldn't hear him. What kind of lead is it?
This is for roofing.
I used to do roofing with, and I on the chimneys area, and it's really malleable, so you could kind of shape it and comes out in thin sheets. And if you layer it over, I was thinking, like, those portable whiteboards that you roll and they have wheels on them and stuff like that? You can make a transportable wall in your house. Transition microwave weapons, like one of your neighbors moved to a different apartment or wherever, because they like apartment complexes, because they could blend in with the whole group of people and stuff. Actually put it from the area where you think it's from, because scumbag neighbors are, and you just put it in their direction, create a shielding wall of it. But they can't use it.
It's great if you don't,
You're breaking up. Both of you are breaking up.
Yeah,
Sorry, if you in an apartment, you don't want something
Exactly.
permanent, but you want something that'll move with you, is what he's saying.
I'd like more information on that.
what it is lead, whatever, it comes down to the periodic table of elements and how many atoms actually part of it. It's just, and, the higher the number, the more volatile it is. So it'll actually be radiant itself and be. One second, they're hit me with that neuralizer, so I can't really think right now. They're blocking out my mind state. I'm sorry.
Hey, listen, if you want to write it down, and then, everybody put group talk or something like that in the subject matter, then I will take what you've written and disseminate it to the people who write to me, give me an email, and then I'll just send it to them. Is that okay?
Great. Great. You're going to make a list of this stuff?
All you have to do is you have to go online and you look into linear functions. Just linear.
And that'll take care of the problem of the fact that we really can't hear you that well, and you do have a great font of knowledge in regard to this material, so we would like to know more, but we're not being able to hear you entirely. So if you could write it down and send it to my email, then I will disseminate it to everybody on this call who contacts me.
Yes.
I'm going to make an informational video, a little science.
Okay.
Like Cat does, and I'm going to explain linear functionality and radio frequency and bandwidth to everyone.
Okay, that sounds wonderful.
And once I finish the video, I'll send it to you right away, and it'll be nicely packaged for information so anyone could get it. I'll break it down into layman's terms.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Okay, and I got to eat dinner and take care of a couple things, but thank you guys for the information and hearing you guys' standpoints. I didn't know that there was some people close to Massachusetts like that. And in Florida, and where was the other person? Rhode Island, the other people?
Yeah, there's
yes, one was
Rhode Island. We have quite a nice group here in Massachusetts that you're quite welcome to join. And there you have it.
Is he from Massachusetts, Frank?
He sounds like he is from Massachusetts.
I got the accent, I know.
Well, what I'd like to add,
Massachusetts is 3 hours later.
Yeah, because I've got to go here pretty soon, too.
Yep. I just wanted to add one thing. There's clear acrylic paint that you can buy, and you can actually buy copper particulate and make your own. There's something else that's very, very old, and that's copper bottom for boats. If you go to pick up a gallon of it, it's like 50 pounds. So it's
I love it. That's great.
Very laden with copper. It's not cheap, but it sticks to the bottom of a boat like through a season, and it's heavy with copper. So those are two areas where you get copper. You can get a roll of copper from a lot of your sheet metal shops, and the availability is very good.
Very, very careful. Buy themselves some of the gloves that are cut-proof.
Right. Yep, it's very, very sharp. The thinner it is, the sharper it's going to be.
Yes. Well, I've even taken, I may have mentioned this or not, but I wanted to say this again. I've even taken the cheap $5 mirrors that you put on your door to make sure that your pants are the correct height or whatever it is.
Right.
I've taken $5 mirrors and painted the back with grill paint. So I have a reflective, surface and then the heat resistant on the back. So that's possible to utilize. But not every weapon reflects, but a lot of them do. And I wanted to mention that I have taken window tinting, highly reflective, heat resistant, and it will say on it how heat resistant it is, like 5% heat resistant or 20%. And you can put that on your windows of your car, and then you've got a double protection. You've painted grill paint inside your car in between the finished part and the metal part, not inside, where it's going to make your car look awful, but in between those two places, and then your car is pretty darn protected.
Yeah, and then one other area, that's a very good idea. One other thing that you can do, you mentioned window tinting earlier.
Yes.
If you buy the Florida version, it has aluminum particulate in it. It's one of the things that reflects the light. So that might be something to consider too. I'm not sure if it's available up here in that strength, but I did my friend's house with it, and you could see the aluminum in it. It was quite a concentration of it. And
Is this call recorded?
yes, it is.
Can you tell us before you end how to access that?
Yes. I believe it will be available on GoToMeeting, the site itself, under this name, Targeted Massachusetts. And I will also post a recording of it on Targeted Massachusetts. So you'll be able to access it there.
Thanks.
Well, I think we've got some really good information, and I appreciate the additions to my information because I'm basically learning as we go, and I do try to share everything that I know so that we can protect as many people as possible. And I appreciate the additional information that I've been given tonight.
We appreciate your presence on the call tonight, and I would like to think that you will be speaking in Washington.
Well, I hope so too. Like I said, if it's in my control, I absolutely will.
Certainly. Thank you so much.
And I'll keep you apprised. Let me tell you, I'm not going to just surprise you or something. I'll keep you apprised.
Okay.
So if you can keep me in your prayers for resolution to total injustice, my lawyer's basically trying to get this thrown out as the garbage it is. And they're just basically trying to tie me up and shut me up.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Are you
You're a
saying that they
threat.
charged you with something? Did they charge you? Did they arrest the person that assaulted you? Or
No. His mother
God.
his mother worked for the sheriff's department for 24 years.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the sheriffs are actually my neighbors, and I actually busted them because they had me on the neural network program, and one of the maintenance guys came into my building, so I was asking them, like, hey, I told them about the program I was in. I'm like, they're legally monitoring me. I'm like, they're using NSA type of equipment style and radio equipment to radiate me in my own house. I'm like, while you're cleaning up the apartments and putting in light fixtures and stuff like that, did you notice anything like that, like really fishy and high-tech equipment? And he was like, yeah. He's like, actually, one of the neighbors in the front of the building have a bunch of radio equipment and stuff. It's weird and sci-fi-like. And I was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm on my way over there right now. And then right when I got outside and I went over, the sheriffs all pulled up in the front of the building, and then they ordered a truck to start moving boxes into the truck right away. And I got in an argument with them. I'm like, they're microwaving me in my own house. I actually have the video. I actually recorded them.
Good.
I recorded them, and they're like, oh, yeah, like, all right, I'm sorry. We're not going to try to radiate you with your equipment because we do not want you to get cancer. I'm like, well, you're giving me cancer, and you guys are legally monitoring me right now. I'm like, I know about the DEA selling heroin and having these spy networks allowed to sell drugs because out here they're working directly with the Department of Transitional Assistance and stuff like that. So they're letting these people become a spy network and all my neighbors for Section 8. They have my neighbors spy on me, and they give them free Section 8. And the Sheriff's Department is connected with the Department of Transitional Assistance, you know? So,
It's, you know, the drug
everyone into
things have
spies.
gotten so that everything's corrupt. Everything's corrupt.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, Karen.
having that situation in Rhode Island. I live in Section 8 too, and I wrote to HUD, and they didn't do anything. Actually, they made it worse. That's when the burn started. So don't go to HUD for help. But the fact that I sent them a certified letter and they didn't respond, I hope makes them liable also.
Yes, do keep a record of everything you send like that. And even if you think, I'm going to send a letter to these people and they're going to blow me off, send it anyway. And keep a record of it. That's what you want. It's the paper trail.
Yeah.
The sheriff's department is in charge of the neighborhood watch groups. They have this on their website.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I said, unfortunately, if the police are not passively helping, they're actively helping.
Yeah. Did you guys hear Professor Martinez on Ella's call this past week?
Oh, I didn't hear. No, I'm sorry.
You've got to go back. Ella had a great call with Professor Martinez and her mother, and she talks about human trafficking. And Professor Martinez tells what she's going through now and how they're selling, they put you on the blacklist, and these people, these shysters, are in control of all these goodies, Medicare, Medi-Cal, all these things that she suffered. So get in contact with Ella, get that recorded call, because she has a wealth of information there, what that gentleman just said about the Section 8. I won't reiterate, but you've got to hear that interview, at least the first hour, because it's extremely informative. And Professor Martinez, they tried to assassinate her time and time again. She drove like 8 hours to where she was to give this interview, but Ella has that information. If you guys want to hear it, it's extremely informative.
All right.
Was this last Thursday? Was it Thursday?
Yes, I believe it was.
Thank you very much.
But just
Thank you, Karen.
Ella. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Karen.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
All right, you guys take care. Absolutely, my pleasure. All right, you guys take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Oh, that was great to have her on.
That sure
Yeah,
was.
she's-
Thank you, Frank, for making that connection. Wow.
Well,
Yes,
actually, she's gone, but Charmaine invited her to come. I did send her an invitation as well, so it was truly a pleasure.
Who's the guy that was talking about the roofing stuff? Who's that?
Yeah, he's still on. That's Stephen Aurora. I can't pronounce his last name. Steve, can you do that?
A-R-R-O-I-O.
Forget it. Sorry. I missed that completely.
A-R-R-O-Y-O.
Are you on Facebook or messaging or?
I'm actually on the Target, Massachusetts page.
You're where?
He's on the Target, Massachusetts group.
Oh, is that's your group, right, Frank?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so I can connect through you to him?
Yes, you certainly can.
Okay. Steve, you said. Steve. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. My mind is absolutely foggy tonight. I've just been really, really foggy. So I'm sorry.
Oh, you sound sharp as a tack as usual to me, Bob.
Oh gosh. No, my head is like full of cotton batting. So thank you. I hope I did sound halfway intelligent.
Oh, yes, you did. But in terms of D.C., we do also have a GoFundMe site. If you could pass that along, put gasoline in somebody's tank and somebody's butt on a seat on a bus, and I mentioned that earlier. But yeah, it's all to get us there. I'd like to see 100+ people there, and it looks like just for the names that I'm seeing that we're going to be able to do that. But
How's Mike doing with his GoFundMe thing?
he's doing very well. I expected to see him on here tonight, but he was not available. So
What is the balance he needs?
I am not sure. I can check, or you can check with him. We'll see what I think his initial goal was 2,000, I think, and I'm
Right.
not sure what he has now.
1,500, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a new unit came out that is much smaller and handheld as would be, we'll say, a bullhorn, something similar to that. And
Really?
yeah, so it's gotten, it's really taken shape. It's no longer a square black board that you point.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so it's
I'm going to have to check that out.
yeah, it's quite an instrument. It's actually two beams of sound that come together, and wherever they come together, that's where the sound is.
Was there a YouTube video? A YouTube video about it, so
Oh
we
yeah,
can take a look at it.
yeah.
Okay, what's it?
Audio Spotlight.
No, I mean, did Mike do it so that we can take, like, does he give an instruction how it works, like, as far as, like, to pay, or?
He may be doing that. I am not sure.
Okay.
I looked for one video, and I found one video 6 months ago, and then as soon as I got through watching it, like 10 more appeared, and I posted like, I don't know, 12 or 15 videos on that, and that was basically to let everybody know that that's the transport method.
Did you see Eleanor White's drawing in the video on that?
I probably did. I think that was quite some time ago, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but where she went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then she drew out how it worked and how they combine the two frequencies, and then how one goes through walls and the other one doesn't, but the other one carries it. And it was very simplistic, but it was very excellent as far as understanding it. So, and I even copied it and put it in my photos because I thought it was just so excellent.
Yeah, I have a, it's basically, I think, an animated picture of what happens. It's actually the two-slit theory, two beams of light going through two separate slits, and when they come together, what happens. And it's also relative to a black hole, one particle of light going into the black hole and the other particle on the outside, and it says that they communicate even though they are separated by a black hole. So that's interesting. That's available Albert Einstein, and I'm trying to think of the word. I'm being stepped on now. I'll come up with it here in a few minutes, I'm sure.
Well, I think the one that I was talking about, if you Google Eleanor White, it'll bring it up. And I found it very easy to understand, very well laid out. She's done remarkable work anyway, so maybe you want to investigate that one too, as far as its simplicity. And you know, because this stuff, to get your head wrapped around it, you know.
Oh, for sure.
You know.
No, I enjoy reading her letters because her email, because she's got so much to say. A lot of interesting topics. And Julianne has contributed a lot as well. But Eleanor White has, I started out a couple of years ago reading her material, and the first thing I read was her creating or co-creating a Faraday cage. And I remember that there's a lot that she's done, a lot that she's contributed over the years.
She was one of the first I bumped into when I went looking for what was going on. And one of the things that stuck with me, and I tell everybody this, do not take drugs. Do not take any psychotropic, any psychiatrist. Don't take any of those drugs. I mean, if you need something for medical problems like diabetes or kidney, whatever, that's fine. But stay away from that other crap, because holy moly, they'll get you on those and they turn you into this complacent vegetable.
Right.
And I've been there too. They, these pulses that they can hit you with, they can carry drugs in those pulses. I know, they had me. I wasn't taking any drugs at all. Listen to Eleanor White in that subject. But they got me. And I don't know how they got me. But they had me so drugged, I could burn myself and it didn't bother me. I'd look at it and say, I burned myself, like 3rd degree. Oh well, and continue on with what I was doing. I finally realized what they were doing and pulled back on the dose.
Right. Well, I tell you folks, what I'm going to do is, it's 10:03. We're actually an hour over hour and 3 minutes what we're supposed to be. Not that there's a regulation, but I try to respect Linda's call. And that's where I'm going right now. So I'd love you to all join me. And
I want to thank you, Frank, for this. This was excellent, just excellent.
oh, thank you so much. I look forward to it every week as well. And Linda's going to cut my head off, I know it. But I welcome you all back next week. And I'm sure we'll touch some more interesting topics and getting closer to DC.
Okay, great. Okay. Thanks, Frank.
Hey, have a good night.
Good night, Frank.
God bless.
Good night, Frank.
Good night.